We're recording. Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Scouting for Lanes. Today out on something a little bit different. So last time I was out on the Honda CRF300 Rally. Today I'm out on one of my CT110s. And the difference with this one is it's one of the American imports rather than an actual Aussie post bike. There's a few bits of differences. So on the Aussie versions, they built out this block here, this spindle block, to make it stronger, to stop it cracking when the posties went up the curbs. They relocated the speedo up to here. They also fitted thicker grade spokes for the Aussie version and uprated the suspension, I believe, and the hubs as well, although they do look very similar. Having said that, the big difference for the American ones, this is a 1993 model, is that they fitted them with this high-low gearbox. So you've got obviously 4 gears as standard, but if you slide that across to low ratio, you've essentially got, it makes an 8 speed box. So first is now sort of half a gear, second is first, third is 1.5, and fourth is second. So it means you can go up some really steep nadgery stuff and still have traction and still have drive. So today I'm out on this because I'm going to do some lanes that I know are quite a bit trickier than what I've done before, and you know, a bike that weighs 95 kilos is the perfect bike for me to go off and exploring the more difficult tracks. It's a bike that's not going to, you know, you're not going to get pinned underneath it. If you get in trouble and you have to turn it around, it's easy to do so, and it's just far less risk involved, certainly when riding on your own. So for me, you know, what's the best bike for doing some challenging tricky lanes? Certainly as a novice, something like this really. So we're going to go in search of the first lane, which is not far away. I have done this for this one before, not for a while though, and yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. So stick with me. I'm going to take you to that first lane. It's a beautiful day actually out here in North Devon today. It's going to be wet, everywhere is going to be wet at the minute. The downside of a bike like this, I guess, is that on the road you're only doing 40 miles an hour or so. And it's one of those light compromises really. If you want a bike that's light, easy and manageable for the trail, it's going to be compromised on the road. And it's just something you have to live with. On Sunday I'm going out with a guy who's going to be riding the GS1200, and he's going to be compromised by the fact that it weighs, you know, 250 kilos, so 2.5 times what this weighs, and so he's going to be challenged on the trail, but obviously happier on the road. And that's, I guess that's talking about bikes at the extremes of, well, the two extremes. And life is about trying to find that sweet spot, and that's where, say, that CRF300 comes in, or CRF250, Victor Alps, even the Himalayan. You know, it's trying to find that sweet spot where you've got some road performance but also some off-road capability. Just going to pull in and let the car behind me pass. It's not up there. I'm going to pull in here. Woo! We're going to go there. Okay, there we go. So again, a legal road. It's on oh, I forget where it goes. It is on the TRF's green road map, and yeah, it's very nadgery. So I'm going to have to, I think we're going to need low gear. Yep. Yeah, it's a little bit steep as it is. I'm going to need half a ratio, so I'm just going to engage my parking brake there, get on its side stand. I have been up this lane before on a CRF 250 Rally, and also on a 310 GS, which I don't know what I was thinking actually doing it on that. I did get up it. It's a bit of a battle. Not sure that's in right. Oh, they were sliding, got too much power. Right, we're away, feet down and paddling. Beauty of a small low bike, feet down paddling. Just getting it going. You know, momentum's everything with trail riding really. Need these head bearings tightening up. I can feel a bit of play in them head bearings. Right, we're away. Second gear, well, first gear. So as I say, I mean, I've kicked it down into technically second, but that's effectively first. Try and get some clean drive. I mean, the trick with trailing is to look as far ahead as possible, and therefore you can anticipate lines, gears, and all. Wow, absolute spinach there. No grip whatsoever. No grip whatsoever. Can't even walk on it. Oh, pure spin. I don't think we're going to manage this one. There we go. We are. So I'm off the bike. For me, I find it easy to get off the bike and then give it gentle power. Because if you're sat on it, it just wants to spin. Whereas if you're walking it like this, very soft throttle, and it's same with the manual bike as well. So you just get off the bike, and that's why good clutch control can really help you in tricky situations. When you're just walking alongside the bike, gives you a chance to get it out of a tricky situation. My goodness, there's some serious slippage up here. Oh, we've got a river. Did anybody watch Kickstart as a kid? I think this is where that was filmed. Ooh. When I came up here on the 310 GS, I remember dropping it off one of these high banks down onto the low side. It fell a long way, and what amazed me about that was how it survived. I think it broke one of the plastic handguards. But those 310 GS's are actually quite a robust bike, and that was without engine. Just caught the back brake then. That was without engine guards. So to say they're quite a lot of plastic, they're actually quite well protected. This is a fine trail, isn't it, this? I'm glad I'm on my 95 kilo machine there. It's a river. Oh my goodness. Just got those feet there. Bike's powering. I think I'm in half. I think I'm at the bottom of the gears. I've got time to get the feet down to check. Whoa, slippy, slippy, slidey. I think the thing, this is a really tricky bit because this is really incredibly slippy. I've not done my video on what kit yet. I am planning on doing it, but I've always said, oh my goodness, the traction that just got up there. Come on. The most important bit of kit for me is the boots for trail riding, because if it's wet, I get around that issue by wearing a 30 pounds ex-military jacket from the Army Surplus store. You can do the same with the trousers, or you can get some Helly Hansen stuff from Screwfix for, 30 quid. You don't need to spend a lot of money on riding kit. You could just put a cheap protective second hand, if you want, motorcycle jacket underneath that. So you don't need to spend a hell of a lot of money on clothing, because it's only going to get scratched and ripped anyway. For the helmet, yeah, I'm certainly glad I didn't come up there on the CRF or the Himalaya. I it'll be still there at nightfall. Whew. Yeah, for the helmet, you know, you could get away with an LS2 helmet for trail riding, 150 quid, 100 quid, whatever, and that would do the job. But with the boots are the thing that take the most abuse. Obviously in the water, wearing them in, day out. And a waterproof boot for me is such an essential thing. I know you can get waterproof socks, but if you're doing multiple day trips when you're camping, it's a bit cammy, isn't it? A bit tappety even. If you're doing multiple day trips and your boots get wet, there's no way you're going to dry those boots out. So for me, a good, just put it back into regular. That's it. So for me, a good boot, and I wear the Geared all-terrain Gore-Tex boots, 250, 250 quid. They mean I can go trail riding and still have dry boots the next day. Well, so if you're going to economise anyway on your kit, I'd say it's on your waterproofing and on your helmet. I know some people are going to say buy the most expensive helmet you can afford, but I do kind of understand the logic in that. But for trail riding, I would say spend the money on the boots if you can. The Geared all-terrain are quite a soft boot. They're not as rigid as some would prefer. They're more of a trials boot, which means they're good for walking, and they've got good suppleness, which means they've got less protection. They get compromised. The City Adventures are popular, so are the Alpine Star Toucans. Thank you. But yeah, you've got to pick your poison really with the boot. And yeah, to me, I trade off some of the protection for the benefit of a boot that's all day comfortable, and these last me a couple of years. So I think 250 quid for 2 years worth of boots, which is my work wear. But let's be honest, I suppose that's not too bad at all. Okay, I'm going to do this link lane and then see you at the start of the next tricky little lane. Just on one of the roads linking lanes. I still enjoy riding these small bikes on these slightly faster roads. Sat at 45 miles an hour, you're still keeping up with a lot of traffic, and it's still good fun through the corners. It's probably running a little bit rich, this bike at the minute. It's popping on the overrun. Just needs a little bit of a fettle. Anybody who doesn't know my story with these CTs, I rode one back from Australia, a 110, an Aussie post bike, and you know, after a day or so you really do settle into the speed at which the bike can carry you and just accept it for what it is. And I do think you see a lot more and experience more, and I think probably meet a few more people just because you're going slower and you've got more alertness, more time to see and watch things. So it wouldn't be for everyone travelling on a slow bike, for certain, but if you can get yourself into the right mindset, it really can transform and change the way you travel and the way you experience different parts of the world. So obviously you have to shorten your daily distances a little bit, manage your expectations perhaps, but still very capable. Now I'm going to try and find this new lane. I think it might be down here. I might have to check my map. Alright, catch you in a bit. Okay, I think I'm on the right track. Just seen a sign that says unsuitable for motor vehicles, which is generally a good indication that you're on the right way. I mean, that doesn't mean it's illegal for motor vehicles. It's just to warn your average guy in his Ford Mondeo or delivery van that the road up ahead is not suitable for that sort of vehicle. But it still is perfectly legal for a bike that, or four-wheel drive, that is capable. And it's one of the signs of the countryside which does confuse people, and you can understand if you were a walker, for example, and you saw that sign and then you saw a motorcyclist coming down it, they'd say, well, there's a sign there saying unsuitable for motor vehicles, and I can imagine then you'd have an endless discussion about why that doesn't mean it's illegal, it's just not suitable. But yeah, it is what it is. Thankfully I don't have too much tension with walkers. I don't think the lanes around here overlap too much with popular walking trails, and I think when you do confront or engage with walkers, horse riders, as long as you do it correctly, politely and respectfully, I generally don't think you have too many problems. You might have some that grumble, but that's life, isn't it? You're always going to get some people grumbling. For those who queried, no, I didn't find my toolkit, unfortunately. When I was out on the CRF the other day, I did go and scout some of I retraced my steps, but didn't come across it. It was a few days later, so it could have been picked up by a farmer or another trail user. It just had a couple of canisters of instant tyre seal in there, which I do like to carry. I find that's 9 out of 10 times effective for the type of punctures you get when trail riding, i.e. just a little bit of a thorn or something. You could run your tyres with slime in, which is a green substance that you can get even from Wilco's, and it's a preventative tyre repair. So you take the valve out, you get a valve key that comes with it, and just take the valve out, let all the air out, and then pour this gunk in or squirt this gunk in, and then that permanently circulates around your inner tube until it detects a leak and then seals it up. So there's a good chance you won't even know you've had a puncture and that the slime is doing its thing. So it's a good preventative, certainly if you're trail riding. Second best thing is the instant tyre replacement, the tyre seal, which as I say, 9 out of 10 times I found it works quite well. Today I'm carrying another little tool pack that's got inner tubes and levers and things, so I have got the basic tools to put a new tyre in, a new tube in even. It's just if it's wet, it's getting dark, the last thing you want to do is be fiddling around with wheels. And the CT is a very easy repair job, 10 minutes or so, but if you get a puncture on a CRF 300, no centre stand on it, so you've got to figure out how you're going to get the wheel out, or you can lay the bike down and get the tube out with the wheel still in situ and patch it up that way. That's another option. But if you've got to put a new tube in, then obviously you've got bigger troubles. It's a nice sensible lane, this, not too challenging so far. It's always difficult to know how a trail's going to change. This one's obviously descending, it could become trickier. Nice though, nice. Well, it's very pleasant in summer, this one, nice and dry. You get nice traction, certainly coming up it, something to attack. The stones and ruts aren't overly deep. These wet leaves are slippy. Hopefully you can see, I can't take my hands off to dry the screen because it's I'm not necessarily holding on for dear life. Actually, that's a good segue there, holding on for dear life, and I think that's one of the common mistakes, I would say, or natural occurrences of first time trail riders. They grip so tightly with their arms. A, it gives them arm pump, quite bad arm pump, and B, you're then fighting the bike, and the bike will always win. So when you're stood up, I would say almost 90-95% of your weight goes, or your input goes through. I have been down here before, actually. Yes, I have. It goes through your feet. So if I'm standing up now, which I am, 95% of my effort is going through my feet. I'm barely holding on with the bars, probably gripping a little bit more tightly because it's rough, but I'm trying not to grip too tightly because you want that front end to be able to meander a little bit and dictate where it goes. Because if you fight it, you grip, give it the death grip, you're only ever going to lose. Wowzers, this one is a tricky old swine. Yeah, I mean, again, look, I don't want to labour the point about big bite, small bite, but we've got wet exposed stone here, quite choppy. We have got leaves, quite a steep descent, and if I'd come down here on the CRF 300, I would be crapping myself, because it would be very easy for the bike to slip, skid, I mean, if it went down on this hard rock, it would be a very expensive headache. It's a while since I've been down here. I didn't know I'd been down here. I had somebody take me out on the trails when I first came down. I think I came down here on a Himalayan, I believe. Yeah, it is. It is one I've done. Oh, blow me down. Okay, nice lane that. Nice lane. Nice lane. Right, I'm going to take you to the one I'm dreading. Okay, this is let's have a look. Are we recording yet? Tractor country. Right, so we're going to engage low gearbox. It's a little bit sticky sometimes. There we go. Just got to rotate that wheel. And give this one a go. Alright. I could do with a tractor. I'm not sure if I'll get up this one. We'll see. So I came up here with a group of 2 back in October time. It wasn't as wet as this. And we were on the posties. We were going camping at Dulverton in the bunkhouse. So we did have our dry bags on the back. I'd never ridden the lane, and I told them, look, we're going to do some new lanes. And we started going up it. And I've got to be honest, we got to the point where I just thought, nah, the risk is a bit high here. We've got, well, hey, we've got people on my bikes, which I have to try and keep safe. Oh my goodness. And I didn't know how bad it was going to get. It certainly wasn't as bad as it is now. Jesus. Oh, let's go. I remember we had to cross it here. There we go. And we got about halfway up, and I said, look, I'm going to turn us round, because I could just see what could happen, really. And that's it. That's when you weigh up your options. If you're on a trip and you're in the middle of nowhere and you had to proceed, obviously you give it a go. You probably take your luggage off. You do it gently and help each other up. But on a trip where you can double back and find an easier way around, nah, it's just not worth. It wasn't worth it. But I've always wanted to come back on this. Look at that, somebody's bumper up there. On this high-low gearbox and give it a go. I probably didn't expect it to be quite as wet as it is today. I mean, my concern is we get a flooded carburetor, but oh my word, if we can just get up past that, I think we'll be alright. I think this is a get off and walk it job. Again, junior kickstart, eat your heart out. Soft on that throttle. Soft hands is, I think, one of the best assets you can have. Well, soft controls all around. And I see people, they get stuck like that and they just mash the throttle, mash it. And all that does is just create wheel spin. And that's not going to get you anywhere. It's a bit narrow through there. I deserve a prize if I get up this, I think. Hot chocolate. What a bike, what a bike. A 30-year-old put-put. A 30-year-old moped conquering what probably is one of the hardest trails you're going to find, certainly around here, and doing it, and allowing me to do it. That's what you want from a good trail bike or a good discovery bike. The bike is enabling my adventure. It's not limiting it or thwarting it or endangering it. The bike will go up this, no worries whatsoever. And I think it's probably the source of my frustration with Honda, in a sense, in that once upon a time they were innovative, brave, and bloody just good quality. But when they designed this, oh my god, I mean, who were this? They obviously didn't think there was a big market for people doing this on it, but they built it anyway. Whereas I guess now, modern world, everything's far more reserved or cost sensitive, maybe prohibitive, legislatively difficult. But back then they were just like, bugger it, let's give it a go. Let's build that ultimate moped off-road bike and give it a high-low gearbox for them weirdos who want to drive up riverbeds. Well, this is the hardest trail I have ever in my life tackled, and I don't think with a standard CT would get up it actually. It's only because I've got that half ratio that's just allowing it to claw, dig and propel itself up. How's your back? Because mine is absolutely battering. Right, first gear. So actually that section there, once you're through that, it eases up. My word, that is a climb, that is. Would I try that on my CRF rally in the summer? Probably not. Probably not. Because turning a bike round on that lane would be murder. I did hear somebody on a KTM 990 came up there. You know what? I don't disbelieve it. With the right confidence, the right ability, and a group around you to help you if it went wrong, yeah, I can see why it would be possible. But you would have to be very fit, very capable, and bloody ballsy. Right, I've got another lane here somewhere. I haven't got a clue where is it. Come on, lane. I'm going to say it's this one here. Let's go. Let's go here. Oh, that was a bit of a puffer, that was, wasn't it? Alright, who wants to come down and ride that lane with me? I was going to say, in March I was going to put some dates up for people to come down on their own bikes, and we'll do a few different levels of trail riding. So there'll be one where it's for people who've never been off-road in their lives before, so obviously you'll be a long way removed from what we're doing here, and then one that's slightly a bit more difficult, and maybe a third a difficult one, but it would certainly be aimed at your average CRF Himalayan rider rather than a proper enduro based trail bike. We do some of the easier lanes, more manageable lanes. Could stay down a few nights, ride one day. We could go over Exmoor, maybe even Dartmoor actually. There's some good lanes, easy lanes over Dartmoor. So if you're interested in that, just put it in comments, interested, and I'll figure out some dates in March. Probably Saturdays, I think that's the best day for all. This is a good lane, isn't it? This is. Mud. Oh, I'm in one of my shallow ruts. I hate my shallow ruts. I hate my shallow ruts. Especially when you're tired and you've got no control. And your bike wants to spit you sideways. Whew, that was a workout, that was. The story of the CT goes that, or the creation of it, sometime I think in the 60s, somewhere in the Rockies, there was a bike shop, a Honda dealer, who was realising a lot of his customers wanted to ride their Cubs off-road. They had a reason to take their standard Cubs onto the dirt, and they'd started modifying them to do it better, longer travel suspension and whatnot, and the dealer cottoned onto that and started making his own kits. And with the success of them, Honda then went off and did their own. So yeah, that's how it all came about. Wow, it's beautiful through it. I wonder if that's a trail there. Right, I'll consult the map. Okay, just last little lane of the day, just over on Exmoor. Well, on the fringe of Exmoor. A few years ago, I'm not entirely sure which year, but all the lanes over on Exmoor were declassified and not permissible now, which is a real shame, because when you go over Exmoor, there's loads of really nice compact. I'm making a right mess of this one. Lots of really nice compact lanes or tracks across the moors, which would be perfect for novice riders to get a good feel of off-road riding or dirt road riding. Yeah, sadly no longer legal, and I think it's just an attempt to keep off-roaders or green laners, car and bike or recreational motorised vehicle users off the lanes. It's a shame. You know, it's always sad when things like that happen. Yeah, there's an inevitability about it all, it seems, and I hope these lanes stay open. But we live in a changing world, and I don't really know if our odd little pursuit of riding motorcycles in difficult conditions is really conducive to that modern world that we're entering. Whether the future will be electric push bikes, and I know there's a lot of motorcyclists, green laners, who have taken to e-bikes and really enjoying that, and obviously it gives you a lot more scope to ride. Say even those lanes over Exmoor, you could ride them on an e-bike, but not on a motorbike. So perhaps there will be a transition over time. Who knows? So yeah, it's a big shame that those lanes on Exmoor are closed. It's left us with a sort of a patchwork of odd lanes here and there. We're blessed with quite a few in Devon, and each county had a different process for declassifying or making off limits their lanes. Somebody said, I wish we had there's many lanes as you've got up in Lincoln, and I did have a look on the green road map, and there's just not that many lanes at all, and the ones that are bloody straight and flat. So yeah, Cornwall's pretty good in parts. Somerset, Dorset's got some, Peaks have got some, although a lot of those are closing. Cumbria and all up there, there's some really good lanes up there. Wales has still got a lot. Scotland unfortunately hasn't got any. They banned it completely. I don't know when. So yes, there certainly isn't an abundance of lanes. There is round here. I'm quite happy with what I've got round here. There's a bit of everything. I wish there was a few more nice, easy, manageable lanes for people on the big bikes, especially, because yeah, that'd be ideal. There's the Honda Off-Road Training Centre over on Exmoor that Dave Thorpe runs. He's got his own private facility. I think it's like a logging forestry commission area type thing, so there's lots of manageable compact lanes, roads he can use that on private property. But for your average person looking for lanes on public land, it's tricky. And as you've seen today, so I found all those lanes are listed on the green road map, but they're not classified as to easy, medium, hard. You don't know what that lane is until you get there. So you could buy your big adventure bike or whatever it is, and get your green road map, mark some lanes, and then hope for the best that you hit upon the lanes that you can do. I guess my concern with it all, I do have a concern actually, because I've ridden GS12s off-road, and once you get into a difficult situation, it's very difficult to get out of it, especially as a bike like that weighs 2.5 times the weight of you, the rider. It can get very messy very quickly, and the lanes I've ridden today are probably at the extreme of what you'd even think about doing, but there's nothing to say you couldn't get halfway down a trail and then encounter something very difficult to turn around. There is a lane south of Barnstable which I did, and first half of it beautiful, dead easy, nice and smooth, and all of a sudden you get up to this narrow sort of canyon of rocks, which is rocky and steep, and difficult, and I had to turn a CT125 round because I didn't have enough ground clearance, and it was very difficult to turn that bike round. I had to roll the bike backwards for a good way until I could get it to turn round. But you know, that's on a 110 kilo machine. If I'd have been on the Himalayan, well, you never know, you might have got up it on the Himalayan. It's hard to say. Anyway, where am I going? I don't even know where I'm bloody going. Brayford. Do I want to go Brayford or South Molton? Blackmore Gate. Let's go. Ooh, let's go left. Let's go left. So that's it. Scouting for lanes on a little CT110, an American import with a high-low gearbox. What I believe to be the ultimate back road adventure exploratory bike. I don't think there is a better bike for you, whether you're experienced or not, to go out and discover new lanes on, because it's so user-friendly, so easy to ride, so forgiving and capable. So yeah, fine machine. Take it easy. I'm going to aim for home, have a cup of tea, and I think my old back's going to need some yoga with Adrienne tonight. Don't half give your back a wallop, these lanes. So take care, do your stretches, eat well, get plenty of sleep, drink water, and then the next night have a big plate of fish and chips. Alright, over and out. See you later.